UiPath has got two design experiences. One is the classic and the other is the modern design experience. As an RPA developer, we should know both the experiences, how to use what. In this playlist, we are covering the classic versus the modern design in a step-by-step manner where we are focusing more on the modern design. In the previous videos of the playlist, we have covered already all of these topics. In case you are absolutely new to modern design and you want to get started, you can refer to the playlist and get started.
Today, in this video, we are going to cover what exactly is a UI synchronization. When I say UI, I hope you understand it simply means the user interface synchronization. Okay. So whenever we talk about UiPath modern design, we have different activities which are available to do the synchronization, and check app state is one of such activity. So today in this video, we are going to focus on this single activity which is called check app state. How to utilize it, when to utilize it, what are the different properties as an RPA developer I should be aware when I am using this activity. Okay, so this would be our agenda for today. If I talk about what exactly is a synchronization, right? So think of an automation which you are writing as a developer. Okay, now there are 5 steps in the automation process: step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And till the time step 2 is completed, the automation should not go into step number 3. But as an automation developer, you need to configure the activities in such a way that the third activities know that yes, the step number 2 has been successfully completed or not. So that means that whenever I am doing a user interface automation, I need to know that which are the activities which I require to do the UI synchronization. In simple words, it is just like allowing the robot to pause for a moment and then wait for specific events to happen. So for example, if I have to log in into an application, right? So before I do anything on that application, the robot should make sure that yes, the portal is successfully logged in. If there is an issue in the logging, then there is no point in going and doing the automation because they are anyways going to fail. So with the use of UI synchronization, we can make the robot to pause and wait for some specific events to happen. Okay, if we do not handle the synchronization, what happens? The automation is going to fail and give you unexpected results. So as an RPA developer, it is important for you to take care of the synchronization. Now, if I talk about the activities which are available, and please remember that we are all talking about the modern design experiences. If we compare it to the classic, there were a different set of activities, but these activities are new activity, and only with 3 activities as an RPA developer you would be able to synchronize the automation. So the 3 activities which are available are the check app state, verify execution, and the pick branch activity. Okay, today we are going to focus on the first one, and in the next video we are going to focus on the second and the third one as well, right? So these are the 3 activities, only 3 activities available in the UiPath to take care of the UI synchronization, right? Let's focus on the first one, which is the check app state activity. This activity allow you to check the state of an application, ensuring that the expected state is available before you do the any set of actions, right? This might sound a little confusing. Let's go to our UiPath studio, try to create an automation, and then we would see that how this activity can be utilized. Okay, so let's go back to our UiPath studio now. Okay, so I am back into my UiPath studio, and looking at the layout, you would understand that yes, it is a modern design experience and not the classic one, right? Because I have the app/web recorder at the top. Okay, so first thing first, I'll go here and I'll create a new sequence. We'll call this sequence as check app state, and that is what we are going to discuss today in this video. Okay, so the sequence is ready. Okay, let's define a small use case. So for example, today we have to write an automation where we have an application. Today we are going to take the example of a notepad, and we have to say here just hello RPA. Okay, so that is just a simple automation which we have to do today. We have a notepad, we have to go here and we have to type hello RPA in the notepad. Okay, so before I come to the actual I would say the check app state, let's see how a developer would do that, right? He will go to the activity, he will take an activity which is use application / browser, because that is the first activity we choose whenever we have to do the UI automation in the modern design. Okay, so I go here and I say indicate application on the target, and I simply point it to our notepad application. Okay, and now after that we have to simply go here and I would use an activity called type into, right? Because to type we need a type into, and I'm going to take the type into activity, drag and drop it here. This is a modern design, so that's why it has to be put inside the application scope. Indicate, and I point it to this one. Okay, I can toggle off the computer vision. I do not want the computer vision because it's a small automation, and all of this we have already covered in the previous videos, so not spending much time here, right? So I'll just go here and I say confirm. Okay, so very small automation where we are instructing UiPath to use the notepad and just type here hello RPA. Okay, pretty straightforward automation. In the use application / browser, if I go to the properties, okay, so you have one property here which is the open property, which automatically opens the application if the notepad is not available, right? However, I would go here and I simply say it to never, right? So take an example. So for example, you are working on an enterprise application and it is a license based application. So if one instance of notepad is already open, you do not want to open one more instance of notepad because it will consume one more license, or the application may be in a different state because a new instance of the application is open, right? Just a quick recap, in case you use application / browser and you set this open to nothing, if this notepad is not available, it will open a new instance, right? So my use case is simple. At one point of time I want to have a single notepad, right? So notepad is available, I go here and I just say run the file. Pretty straightforward, simple automation. The robot will go, it will find the notepad and it will simply go and type into the editable text which is hello RPA, right? Nothing fancy here, it works. But what happens if I go here and I close this notepad? So now the notepad is no more available on the screen. If I go here and I say run the file, now what would happen? The automation will look for the notepad which is not available on the screen, right? And it will look for 30 seconds, and after that it is going to say that hey, I am not able to find the notepad and I was not able to run, right? Now this is just an example of a notepad. It can be anything. It can be a login screen, it can be an SAP window, it can be a drop down which you are expecting the robot, and before doing the action you need to validate, right? But here as you can see there was no notepad. I got a runtime exception. A runtime exception means that if you publish this automation as it is to Orchestrator, what would happen? You are going to get a application not found exception. That would be a system exception and your automation would be marked as faulted in the Orchestrator. However, you would never know that what exactly is the error, right? So ideally in the real-time automation, what should happen? If the notepad is not available, what should have happened? It should either give you a message that hey, there is a business exception, the application was not open, or it should not at least give this faulted state. So the idea is simple. If the application is not found, I should get a message which says that hey, the notepad was not available and this error should not come. So that means that I need to check the state of the application before even I continue this automation. And that is where you have an activity which is called check app state. So I'll go here and I'll use an activity called check app state. I'll just drag and drop it here. Right now, The first thing which you should remember about this activity is that it can work even outside of the use application slash browser. Most of the modern design activity, you have seen that always it requires the scope, this window, use application slash browser. However, this activity can stay outside the use application slash browser as well. Okay, if you compare it to the classic design, it is same like the element exist, where you check whether the element exists, then you take it in a boolean variable, and then you do the certain set of steps. However, in the modern design, it is very simplified and very easy to use, right? All you have to do is just indicate the target on the screen, right? So I'll go here and I'll search for something which is called notepad, and I'll say indicate target on the screen, and I'll just point it to this complete application, and I'll say confirm. And now if you notice here, once you have done this, it is asking me what should I do? Should I wait for the notepad to appear, or should I wait for the notepad to disappear, right? So this you can think of the same in the classic design, element exist and use element vanish, right? That I want to wait till this element disappears from the screen. It can be as simple an automation that, let's say you have to click on a download button, but before that there is a loading symbol which is coming. So you would say that, hey, till the time that element is disappearing, don't do anything, right? In this case, I would say element appear, right? Simple thing. Now the next question this activity is asking you, hey, how much time you want to wait for appear or the disappear? If I keep my mouse here, it says that, Mukesh, if you don't put anything, I am going to wait for 5 seconds. You can select this drop down and you can select 5, 10, 30. These are the default duration. But let's say your automation requires to you wait for 15. You can come here and say 15. Okay. This 15 again can be stored in a config file in a variable, and you can pass that here as well, right? So that again you can always do. I'll leave it to the default settings. Now compare it with the classic. If I'm using a classic design, I would first check, then I would store the output in a variable, then I would check the variable whether the variable is true or false, and then I do the next set of steps. However, in the modern one, you already have these two true and false sequence which are already available. Target appears, target does not appears. So this activity is giving you two options immediately, right? So you don't have to create a variable, store a boolean variable, then check it. And now you have to just write your automation here. So what happens if the target appears? If the target appears, I simply want to do this, so I'll drag and drop it here. That's it. What happens if the target does not appear, right? So what should I do? I'll go here and I'll simply use an activity called log message, drag and drop it here, and I make sure that this is an error, and here I would like to give a message that the notepad was not open and this is a business exception, something, and then you can come here and you can write automation to open the notepad, see if it is there, not there. All your implementation can come here, right? So basically what I have done is, before I do any automation, I am checking the state of the automation using this activity. Okay, so I'll go here, save this, happy path, the notepad is open. I'll go here and I'll say run the file. Okay, so this is the happy path, the notepad is open, so this activity will go. It will see that yes, the notepad is available. It will go to the true branch and it will simply say hello RPA, right? Now if I go here and I close this, go here and I say run the file, the automation would wait for that element, right? And we have configured it to 5 seconds here. The default value was 5 seconds, so it only wait for 5 seconds. You can increase the timeout. Okay, and if it does not appear, you would notice that I did not get that runtime exception, rather I got this message which I printed here, log message, right? You can use the throw activity, you can generate a business exception, all of that you can do. But now think that you are running this automation from an orchestrator, you would directly able to get this message which says that, hey, notepad was not open and this is a business exception. You can send an email and do all the stuffs, right? That's why as an RPA developer, it is important to handle the check app state into your automations, right? And this simple activity can do that. Now here I just use the check app state into the notepad. You can use it in the browser. So let's say you are logging into an automation, and before you type the user ID and the password, you make sure that the login screen is available. So I go here, check app state, and click on that button, and it will wait for that complete thing to be available. Okay. One other thing which I want to focus here is that this activity here, if I go here and I say indicate on the target again, right? You can wait for the complete application as I did, or you can also use any specific element. So let's say I want to click on the file button, and before that I want to validate the file is available or not, right? So rather than having the complete application, you can also use specific element inside the application for validation, and all these options are exactly the same. Okay. If I go to the properties, you would notice here that these are pretty much the same properties: delay before, display name, the target, fuzzy selector, native, strict selector. All of these are coming from the old experience as well, right? Whatever we have in the modern design, all these are exactly the same. The good part here is the result, right? So as of now, my requirement was that I just need to have a true and false, and I didn't even created a boolean variable. But you might be writing an automation where you want to know that whether the application was available or not, and based on that you need to write a different set of automations maybe here. So that option is not removed. Still you can go to the properties, go here, hit Ctrl+K, create a variable, and that variable would be again a boolean, and that you can use in the next part of the automation. Now I hope that is clear. If you are following along with me, just comment down check app state, and I would understand that yes, you guys understand till this point. Okay. Before I continue, I just want you to take time and just write check app state in the comment so that I understand that yes, we all are on the same page. I'll wait for your comment. And now let me show you some more interesting stuff which we can do here, right? So when you are in the check app state, you might be noticing here toggle branches, right? Sometime as an RPA developer, I do not want the true and the false block. I only want to see whether the element is available or not available. I do not want to have this true and false block, right? It came by default. But if you click here and click on toggle branches, you can toggle. So you don't want anything. It is same like now element exists. You can change it here, element disappear. If you want only one branch, both the branch, again toggle both the branches. Only want the true branch, this is the true branch. Only want the false branch, again toggle. Don't want anything, again toggle, and it is gone. So simple activity, just click on this one, toggle branches, and it dynamically changes its layout, right? I personally like this feature very much, that toggle branches is actually helpful because I don't have to drag and drop a lot of activities, if sequence, all this sequence, right? Just come here and say toggle branch, right? Let me know what do you think of the toggle branch. Is it helpful or not? Okay. So for me, I require both of them. So I'll again go here and I'll just expand both of them, and they are still available, right? So this is one feature which is available, which is called the toggle branch. Okay, so coming back to the presentation, let's see what all we have covered and what we else have to cover, right? So check app state activity verifies the state of the application or the web browser. Same I did for Notepad. You can also do it for a browser, web application, desktop application, and all of that, right? This activity extends beyond the checking of the single UI element and can observe the entire application as well, right? Complete Notepad or the file button. And it says that we can also use this condition in the retry scope, and that also I have highlighted, but I'll show you what exactly I mean when I say that I can use it in a retry scope. Just park that for a while. Additionally, you can also use the check app state activity independently of the use application slash browser, right? Please remember this thing, that though it's a modern activity, you do not require it to necessarily drag and drop it inside the application. Why do you want to do that? So to give you the flexibility to maintain, or I would say monitor and control the application even when it is outside the scope. Okay, so by leveraging this, you can create dynamic, robust automation and adapt the stages of the application or the browser. Okay, now come to the highlighting point and this one, that what do I mean when I say that it can be used as a condition is the retry scope. Okay, so I'll just go back to my automation again. So in UiPath, we have an activity which is called retry scope. Retry scope is an activity which is used to handle the exception, I would say, and manage the automation. So retry activity is an activity which is available to control the flow of the automation. So for example, today you have a requirement that the notepad is not available, but you want to check the notepad at least 3 times, right? So as of now, the robot is running only once. It says that, hey, I triggered once and then it was not available, so it simply went and closed the automation. But let's say you have a requirement that before you throw an exception, you want to check the notepad for 3 times, right? So in the action, what do you want to do? I'll just copy paste the same thing, that hey, I want to just copy, I'll go here and I paste it in the notepad here, right? That I simply want to go here, I'll remove this, right? Delete. Okay, so I simply want to, in the action, I want to go to the notepad file and I want to type hello RPA, right? And before I go, I just want to use an activity called log message. I'll say info, and I would say that I am trying, right? So that I know that yes, it is trying. Okay, so here in the retry scope, it will try, but how many times? So I'll go to the properties and I'll say here in the retry scope, you have something that how many try you want to have. I will just make it to 3. So I am telling UiPath that at least try 3 times, but it has something which is called a condition as well, where I say that you try till the time you find this notepad. If you find this notepad, you can simply go and stop the loop. Okay, so I'll go to the activities, and now here also you can use the check app state activity, drag and drop it inside the condition. So that means that because this activity is giving a boolean output, you can use it in the retry scope as well, right? So now I do not want this. I can toggle the branches, toggle the branches, toggle the branches, and this is wait for the element to appear. Which element? The notepad. I'll go here and I'll say point it to the notepad. I'll say confirm, and that's it, right? So check app state activity can be used as a condition in the retry scope, right? Let's see this in action. I'll go here and I'll close this notepad, right? So the notepad is now not available on the screen. Okay, so before I execute, let me quickly check. In the retry scope, in the property, we are telling it to retry 3 times. Okay, sorry, my bad. So it's not the retry interval, guys. Retry interval is the interval on which you want to retry. So we want to retry it 3 times. So the 3 would be available in the number of retries. Okay, so I by mistake put the value here. It has to be in the number of retries, which is 3 here. Okay, so what would happen if I go here and run the file? Previously, it was directly giving you an exception, but now this time it should at least try it 3 times. So let's see that in action. I'll go here and I'll say run the file. Okay, so the automation should start and it will look for the notepad. The notepad is not available on the screen, so it will look for some time. Now I want you guys to let me know in the comments that how much time the automation will took to find the notepad. 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or 1 minute, right? I hope you guys now following this series, so you would understand the answer. If you know the answer, just comment down, right? So the correct answer is 30 seconds. Before the automation give an exception, the automation is looking for the automation for 30 seconds. That is the default timeout, but as a developer you can increase or decrease it, right? So if I go to the output, you can see that hey, it is trying to find the notepad. 30-second went, it is retrying for the second time, and again it will look for 30 seconds, and again if it is not able to find, it will retry it 3 times, right? The same automation, but we have used the retry scope. But since we are discussing the check app state activity, you should focus here that in my condition I have just used the check app state activity because it is giving the boolean, right? So it is looking for the notepad. So let's say the notepad was supposed to open by some other application, it is not open, it will retry it 3 times, and after retrying it for the 3 times, it will simply say that hey Mukesh, I was not able to find the notepad even after 3 retry, so here is your exception, right? So the summary here is that we can also use the check app state into my automation as well, like this condition, right? So after 3 retries, again after 30 seconds, it will simply go and come out, right? So that means that you can use the check app state into the retry scope as well, and the reason for that, it is gives you a boolean output. So I'll say okay, and this completes the implementation of the retry scope, how you can use the check app state. Okay, so I hope that is clear. If that is clear, just let me know in the comments by typing retry scope. Okay, so I'll wait for your comments, and let's go back to the presentation. Right, so we have already covered all of this. Just a quick recap that we can use it a retry scope, and that can be used both inside and outside of the application workflow, right? You can use it inside the use application / browser activity as well. So that is pretty much I wanted to cover in this video. Let's have a quick summary. Okay, so the check app / activity verifies the state of an application or a web browser by checking the appearance or the disappearance. Appearance or the disappearance, appear, disappear, right? It allows you to execute different set of activities whether the element is found or not found. This is the same concept. You can check the notepad or individual element as well. Okay, so this is we have already discussed that single UI element or the complete application. It can be used as the condition inside the retry scope, right? We have also checked, and the check app state activity can be used independently of the use application / browser, providing you the flexibility to monitor and control the application or the web browser. I do the same thing with the help of notepad. I would request you guys to try it with the web browser and try this yourself, right? So just a quick request, whenever you are watching this video, please do practice this, see all the properties, read through the activities, and then your concept would be very much clear. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well, right? So today we discussed only about the one activity in the UI synchronization, which was the check app state activity. The remaining 2 we are going to see in the upcoming videos, right? So stay tuned to the channel and see you in the next video.
Okay, so that is all for this video. I would like to wrap this video here. I hope this was insightful. If you have any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. I would appreciate your feedback on the video, and tell me in the comments what would be the next topic or next video you want to see. So with that, I would wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.